and welcome to today's program, Compliments of the Season to you all. This is your Health Chat program, which looks at different health-related matters. And today we are looking at the cholera situation in Lusaka district. To help me understand and just to get to know what is on the ground, I have with me in the studio the Director of Public Health under Lusaka City Council, Mr. Victor Kagoli. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Faith.
Yes. Maybe we look at the simplest term of it. How can we define cholera? Okay,
for the consumption of the community, Faith, I would want to say that cholera is a fecal-oral, I will emphasize, it's a fecal-oral disease that presents itself with diarrhea and vomiting. Of course, there are details to it, but I emphasize the fecal-oral aspect for the public and the community to know that it is fecal-related. Without fecal contamination and reaching your mouth through whatever means, then you will not have it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And now, what is the role and mandate of your department under the Lusaka City Council?
Yes, thank you so much. The role and mandate of Lusaka City Council, both proactive and reactive. Proactive in that we need to prepare the community in terms of infrastructure. When we talk about infrastructure, we are talking about the drainages, we are talking about the toilet, either pit latrines or conventional toilets. We are talking about general hygiene and providing of proper waste management, solid waste management, ensuring that the sewer systems are intact, they are not able to discharge. So that's a proactive approach to answer to situations of cholera. When that is done, you will not have cholera because you will have closed all the ropes already. The tap is closed at that point. A reactive responsibility or mandate is indeed when there is an outbreak, already you need to work together with the other stakeholders, other partners to ensure that the cholera outbreak is kept by providing chlorine, providing health educations, ensuring that you answer to latrines. If they are filled in the rain season like this one, you find that the repeat latrines get filled easily. So you need to begin to think whether to dislodge, meaning emptying the latrine to reduce, because the people will continue using it and they will get contamination out of it. And also making sure that all the sewer systems is secured and there's enough adequate water supplied to the community. It's a responsibility of the council. And of course, with the resources that the council needs to have, it may not manage alone. It needs plenty and a lot of stakeholders. Sometimes it may even, be a disaster to an extent that we evoke the responsibility of disaster management unit to come and, support the situation.
All right, thank you so much. But what is the situation like on the ground, as it is believed that the numbers are swelling? What is your take on that?
Yes, currently, I agree with you that there's presence of cholera and the numbers are heightening. Yes, there are quite a number of factors. I should just give an example of whenever there's an outbreak and control, how it should be done. The first thing that must be done is to look for the tap. It's assumed that somewhere the tap is open.
Yes.
And you need to find the open tap so that even when you are mopping, you know that the tap is closed. But if you start mopping and you don't find the tap, you will continue mopping and probably the pressure that is coming with the tap, the disease is coming with a lot of pressure to an extent that your continuous mopping will not control the situation. So currently the situation is that we there are a lot of stakeholders involved, I think, that are involved to ensure that we first find the tap, and we are closer to finding the tap. Okay. We have seen the major areas where the contamination is coming from. We have seen that water is one, poor hygiene, sanitation. Generally, these are the key areas where we have seen that this cholera is coming from. And this tells us a story because the cholera in Kanyama may not be related to the cholera in, say, Chawama. What is expected under normal circumstances when there's an outbreak, knowing that cholera is contagious, we expect that someone must have traveled from Kanyama, where the first case was seen, to Chawama to infect others. But this is not the case with the current situation. The current situation is that there's a case in Kanyama which actually started with Kanyama, and there's another case in Chawama, which case also just started, and no relationship between the Kanyama case and when you look through, you find that in those areas there's filled up, pit latrines. There is maybe erratic water supply, and maybe they are getting the water from the well. So all these becomes the influencers to an outbreak. So there are so many approaches that are being used. I think we are happy the nation is alert, and everyone is getting involved. Water is being supplied to places where it's seen that people are getting water from the shallow wells, and a thought of even burying those wells where you have given them a better source, a safe source. Those plans are there. There is distribution of Corolin around the communities where these cholera cases are coming from, the hotspot areas. So there's also removal of garbage, that has accumulated. Just to mention that garbage, it tends to harbor, vectors, which vectors are able to carry from the toilet to the garbage heap to the food or water or whatever that a person can take, making it a source of transmission. Yeah, so to cut that route down, there's collection of garbage and managed, taken to the final disposal site, which is the Luchunga landfill. So there are quite a number of interventions that are done, and not just by the council. I think the council is just contributing to it. There are quite a lot of stakeholders. Yeah.
All right. Director, with the onset of the rains, it's likely that we might see an increase, in the numbers. What is the local authority doing, in getting ready or getting prepared for this?
Yes, okay. Though it's an assumption that the cases may increase with the heightened rain.
Yes.
Sometimes we get a dilution level to an extent that instead of cases, when we have a lot of pour of rain, instead of cases going up, the cases reduces because there's a bit of some dilution in terms of the fecal contamination. However, when it is about to be dry, if you saw, these cases started even before the rain, and they were associated with the inadequate supply of water inceptionally. And as it poured a bit, and it was hot, so it allowed for bleeding, and the cases heightened. And now that the rain is pouring, if it continues, there's a possibility that we may be deceived, and the cases may reduce a bit because of dilution. But as it becomes hot again, you will see the cases going up. Yeah, so that is the kind of situation. However, responses should continue, and we are continuing responding by supplying to the community safe water, not as a council, I should say, of course contributing, yeah, and also clearing the drainages. We have observed that I'll give you, for example, the Bombay drainage. People have built toilets close to the Bombay drainage, and the toilet contents are discharged into Bombay drainage. Now, what should happen is that during rain season, you expect storm water to run through a storm water drainage, which is open normally. And during the dry season, all the storm water drainage must be dry and nothing should run. Yeah, so people take advantage and open the latrine contents into the drainage, and the other people use the same water in the open drain to wash and getting contamination. So what we are doing, we've been doing inspections to make sure that we know exactly who does what to such drainages. We will not only clean, dispute and clean the drainages, but also we charge those that are discharging into the stormwater drain. And that's an active activity that we are doing to just try to stop them. And we are also distributing chlorine, to the community. We are disinfecting, especially the markets and the bus stations, and everywhere where we see there is a sewer discharge that is, because of maybe broken sewer line. Yeah. And we get to, chat with our colleagues, our partners, the Lusaka Water and Storage, just to alert them. I know it's too much. We have a lot of sewer lines that are open, that are discharging into open. It's above, it could be above their budget. So they need a lot of support from other stakeholders to ensure that all the pipes that are broken are mended and we do not have discharges. Yes, no.
Well, Director, you've mentioned of charging those that are, letting their sewer lines going into the Bombay drainages and everything else. Do we have numbers? So how many we have charged so far?
Okay, we had an exercise through WASHA. I may not be precise, but I think we charged quite a number of people. Okay. Yeah, the WASHA support, WASHA is composed of many stakeholders. And there was a survey that was done, and those that were found guilty were charged. And the charge, if you resist as an individual, we take you to court through the fast track court at the council, and then you suffer quite a number of losses. Okay. Yeah.
Wow. Anyway, that is quite encouraging. But looking at the prevailing situation currently, which are the most hit areas in the Lusaka district? And what do you think could be the reasons to that effect? Okay.
We have a number of cases in a circuit. I'll call it a circuit because they are predictable. Yeah, they are predictable because of the condition, the sanitation, the water supply, and also the latrine, conditions in these areas. We have a number of them coming from Kanyama. We have some coming from Matero with a skill. Matero being a constituency, Kanyama constituency, Matero constituency. But for Matero, we see more coming from Chunga and Madimba area, because I think there is open sewers that are open, along Chunga, Madimba area, and also the latrines there are full. So, and I think what we have observed is also erratic supply of, water which is safe. So I think the intervention that is going on now is to make sure that these three aspects are attended to, yes. And we also have cases coming from Munali constituency. These are the three, Mandev as well, Mandev, then Munali constituency. I think the situation is the same in terms of water, sanitation, and also hygiene conditions of our people. Yeah, in Kalikiliki is the major supplier in terms of Munali constituency. There is a stream that passes through there, and also the toilets are full, and so all these, so the cases are literally predictable. Yeah, and the interventions and resources are being forecast in those areas. Okay. Sure.
Let's talk solid waste management.
Yes.
What is it that we are doing? Because we do have complaints from the communities to say the people that you have tasked to, collect garbage, they're not doing enough. What is it that the local authority is doing?
Okay, it's good to get that question. What is it that the local authority is doing? For the past 3 years, we had a running contract with franchise contractors. There are 2 groups of service providers in solid waste. We have got what we call the CBE, commit-based entrepreneurs. We also have franchise contractors now. CBE's response to peri-urban areas that are not well planned, well as the franchise contractors respond to servicing areas that are planned, So the past 3 years we have had the contracts running, and we did an evaluation, and the contracts are coming to they've come to an end. We are engaging another set of contractors who we wish that and we saw the flaws. Our problem was the council, maybe we didn't do a good job in crafting the contract, and in terms of evaluation we didn't know when to cut the contract. So those were challenges. However, we have looked and restudied and put more new conditions in the contract, and we have since advertised, evaluated, so we are likely to begin with new contractors, start January. So we hope that the complaint of the members of the public will have reduced, because I think we are robust in terms of supervision. Initially, maybe we are just excited that we are getting help. Remember, the mandate of waste management is anchored by the Local Government Act on the councils, but we were overwhelmed. We couldn't have enough adequate resources to provide that service. That's why we got in, private sector to help us. But I think we also needed to sharpen our tools in the monitoring, and that's why the community have been complaining. So in the current engagement, we think we have done a good job. We will see the complaints after January going forward.
Okay, good to hear that. Meaning we are going to see at least an amplified team in terms of cleaning of the CBDs.
Yes, actually for the CBD, as Lusaka City Council again, we formed a company called Lusaka Integrated Solid Waste Company. Okay. So for the CBD, we feel we need to handle it as a council. When I say as a council, we mean this company that was formed by the council, by Lusaka City Council, we should be able to provide that service in the CBD. It will do much better than other private companies that we have engaged before. Okay. Meaning that if there's any problem that emanates in the CBD, we shall not get a blame game to say, no, it's this contractor. This will be direct, like the council has not provided a service because the company has failed to provide a service. So we think, we rethought, and we said, no, I think this place is very sensitive and we need to actually do the service. What is a difference between the other private providers and the Lusaka Integrated Solid Waste or the council is that even when someone has not paid for or subscribed for service of solid waste, we will still go and pick the waste. Different from the other private contractors, if you don't pay, they will not provide a service to you. So for the council, we will provide a service and pursue you so that you pay.
Okay.
Sure.
Well, viewers, in case you've just tuned in, this is your Health Chat, a program that looks at health matters and other related issues. We are looking at the cholera situation in Lusaka District, and we have in the studios Mr. Victor Kagoli, who is the Director of Public Health under the Lusaka City Council. Director, we had a call to action by His Excellency the President, who actually intimated that we do not expect a person to die from cholera, and we should have a free Zambia at some point to kick out this disease. What action have we put in place for us to achieve this?
Okay, maybe that's a very important aspect to note. Yes. By the head of state. I think there's a lot that is happening that probably my shoes are very small to comment. There's a lot. I think the government machines are all aboard to hearing the guidance of the president. I know that sooner or later you might be able to interact with senior people. I think the Minister of Local Government, Minister of Health, and other all putting their heads together to ensure that the directive of the president is taken too.
Okay.
Sure.
But as regards to CDF, which I believe is under kind of you, what is it that we have done? Have we allocated any monies towards the prevention of this disease as a local authority?
Yes. CDF has got a component that deals with disaster, and that particular one, from the constituencies, they are able to, they've been asking so that they do the interventions at that level. So I should say yes, there's a utilization of CDF even to respond to cholera outbreak. You can see a number of vehicles, the CDF vehicles, have also been surrendered to respond to the cholera outbreak. I think Kanyama is such an example, that the CDF vehicle is one of those that is helping out in terms of information reaching the community.
Okay,
sure.
Thank you so much. We've heard of the water, sanitation and hygiene, the WASHA program.
Yes.
How is it helping? Because currently we have seen a lot of blockages around, let's say, Long Acres area. There's so much that is happening. What is it that is being done on that one?
Yes, when we talk about the WASHA program, it's composed of so many stakeholders, and these come together and get resources from different points. For example, I'll give the council is a stakeholder, Lusaka Water and many other NGOs that come aboard. As you are able to notice, there is a lot of distribution of chlorine, both the liquid and the granular. This is actually as a result of the WASHA program. There is a lot of contribution that is coming in. But to deal with the sewer blockages, like I said previously, it's quite a heavy task. It needs a little bit more. It's an infrastructural development aspect that needs a lot of support. Stakeholders should really support Lusaka Water because most of the lines may be old, and poor solid waste management again with our community would block and sometimes making the sewer lines break. That's why we see a lot of discharge. So on that line, we need a lot of support to the water and storage company to make sure that and remember, like I said, cholera is a fecal oral, and sewer is just the fecal itself. Yes. Yeah, so we need a lot of support to the Lusaka Water, and there are meetings, I think, at a very high level that is, such issues are responded to.
Okay. Any other water utility company that you're working with apart from Lusaka Water and Sewerage?
And no, because the mandate for water and sanitation is with Lusaka Water. We do not have private utilities. Okay. Of course, yes. But of course, others are within the WASHA program, and they are able to bring their resources to respond. I think we have a lot of meetings that we have at 07 hours, at 9 hours every day to ensure that we see how these resources are appropriated, how cases are coming, and what is it that should be done at a particular point, especially the hotspots. So there's a robust activity that is happening actually, not only from the Lusaka City Council. Remember, we have bars that running, so and that could be a source of contact also in terms of contamination. So one of the activities that we are doing as Lusaka City Council is to robustly inspect these facilities, the markets, the bars, and many public spaces, to ensure that and educate so that people are able to know that cholera is dangerous and are able to respond, just like we did during COVID. And the interventions that were applied for COVID are actually similar or are the same with those that should be applied for cholera. and that's what we are doing. Churches inclusive, I think, on Saturday. And Sunday, we have a team of health inspectors, team of health educators that will be located, going into all the churches, trying to engage the members of public. We feel when they get it from church as well, it makes a lot of sense. Sure.
That's a very good engagement. We are looking at cholera as an hygiene problem, which has to be fought from all fronts at a multi-sectoral approach. And now if we look at that, what is it, or maybe that, which other stakeholders have you engaged?
I want to say that it is coming out as some kind of a disaster now. As such, the Office of Disaster Management Unit has been involved. And when that office is involved, then it means everyone, all sector are involved. And not even a single sector is left out. So when you talk about who is involved in this response, it's the government. Okay. Yeah, the government is that it's best to respond, and it is really doing the responses. Yeah, sure.
Okay. Brilliant. But as a local authority, any programs that you've put in place to sensitize the communities?
Yes, we have currently running, we have a number of officers in both public places, teaching, talking about the golden rules of cholera, how to prevent them, and there's also peer system that is going around. So those interventions are critical, and we are also doing inspections, like I said. Yes, inspections in places where we think, like I said, you find that someone is discharging now not only sewer, but also any effluent that comes from any space, any premises, then we take responsibility and charge such a one. Yeah, so that we don't have uncontrolled discharge of either water. And we also do samples in terms of water to really establish whether this particular source of supply of water has cholera germ or it is contaminated with fecal matter. We also do food samples in our activities to ensure that even the food is not contaminated. We now also teach or sensitize the community on how the best practices in terms of hygiene. So we have a whole team out there in the community to try to sensitize the community.
Right.
Yeah, sure.
Brilliant. Director, as you do your last words, or maybe a word of appeal or so, I would want you to maybe focus on the street vendors.
Okay.
Street vending. What word do you have during this period? Because it's quite critical when you look at it.
Thank you, Faith. I've always been passionate about, talking about trade in the street. My worry, and which is very important to note, is that street vending is not only illegal, but it has no space in terms of trading. There are no services that one who is trading on the street will get. They need a shelter, they need the toilet facilities, they need a place where they should contain their waste to dump. Then they drink water there, they get some biscuit, anything, and they need to hold that waste. And that waste systematically must be gotten from that point to the final disposal point. And also there's issues of weather conditions. There are products, for example, food products, they are exposed to, this time it's rain, and the products are on the surface, on the ground, the water is flowing, so there's a lot of contamination that goes with the food, even when it is dry, there's dusty, and so the integrity of the food that has to be sold for human consumption becomes risky. It becomes really not allowable. So for me, we are advising the street vendors to say, please get back to the market. It's well designated. If the services you feel the services are not okay, demand for the services. The council is there to provide the services in the market. Even as a way of intervening, it's easier during this outbreak to go and provide the cholera intervention services in a designated place. For example, we are now doing disinfections in the markets, in the bus stops. We are providing chlorine, but it's very difficult to get on the street someone and then you give chlorine, you start cleaning. It's very, very difficult. So the best place to be is in the market. Well, it's illegal, but there are quite strong factors that demand that for protection in this outbreak, vendors should get back to designated places. That would be a better point for them. Even when they are sick, we are able to trace within the market. We will do a contact tracing smoothly. We will know where is he coming from, who did he interact with, what did this person eat, where did he get the water. But on the street, it's a challenge and it's a cost to government.
Sure. Well, Director, thank you so much for appearing on our program.
Thank you.
We hope to have you sometime.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, viewers, on that note, we've come to the end of our program. This was your health chat, which looks at various health matters. I had with me Director of Public Health from the Lusaka City Council, Mr. Victor Kigoli. On behalf of my producer, Kennedy Nkoma, the production team, I've been your host, Faith Mutale, saying goodbye and enjoy the festivities. Goodbye.